Goals are not only absolutely necessary to motivate us, they are essentially to really keep us alive. Robert Schuller. Hey, it's Brad Ross from BradCoachMe.com. And congratulations! You made it back to day 2 of my 7-day e-coaching course. Now, before we get started, please make sure that you've got your notes from our previous session handy, as all of the work in this next part is going to be related to those notes. And if you haven't watched session number 1, be sure to go back there to day 1 and complete those first 4 exercises. If you have completed those exercises, it's time to move into day 2, which is goal setting. And goal setting, actually goal achieving, is ultimately what characterizes the true winners in life. Unfortunately, for some people, they have wonderful and exciting ideas for their life, but it rarely goes any further than the idea phase. You see, having a goal allows anyone to take an idea from the invisible plane and take that thought and begin the process of actualizing it in the real world. Well, in today's lesson, we're going to focus on the process of goal setting. Now, the subsequent lessons will help you with the goal actualization process, or goal achieving, but we'll get to that in the coming days. So, how do you determine what your goals should be? That's always one of the first questions I get asked as a coach. People say, oh yeah, sure, I've got goals, but they really don't, and they don't have a clear process. So, how do you decide what your goals should be? The easiest way to get going about this is to think about all of the various areas of your life, the places where you put importance on improving your results. As an example, most people have areas of life that they focus on in particular, that follow a goal-setting system. For me, as an example, I focus on financial, career, health and fitness, and family. Now, there's no rules or restrictions when it comes to defining your own personal categories. The important part of this lesson is to look within yourself and determine what areas of your life do you want to focus on improving. Simple enough, right? Well, you may already be very successful in a particular area of your life. This does not mean that you ignore goal setting here. In fact, it's just the opposite. It is just as important to focus on your goals in this area that you're already successful with, so that you move your mind into a mode of constant improvement. For example, when I was fresh out of college and just getting started on my career and my lifelong journey to be a professional illusionist and to have that continued passion, I said, well, I really want to make a ton of money performing in the local market, doing birthday parties, but that's not where I want to stay. I want to eventually become an illusionist and perform a big illusion show. Well, after I dominated the local market and was performing 20 to 30 birthdays and local events every month, I eventually booked my first theme park, and I climbed the ladder of success. But after that first season at the theme park, I wasn't just happy with working at the theme park. I wanted to work cruise ships, which was my next goal. So I continued climbing that ladder of success. There's always going to be room for you to grow. In fact, by universal law, if you're not growing and expanding, then you're fading away and you're dying. Now, I don't want to get morbid here on you, but it's important to choose now to always be moving in the direction of expansion and fuller expression. You see, goals are a lot like a destination on the roadmap of life, if you will. You see, you're in charge of the direction you travel at all times. People with goals generally accomplish great things because they know where they're going. Now, an alarming observation that, according to some recent statistics, fewer than 5% of the population have written goals for their life. That means that 95% of people are getting in their cars and they don't know where they're driving to. 95% of the people out there are moving through life without a clear direction. That's scary to me. So the obvious question for these folks is, if you don't know where you're going in life, how are you going to know when you get there? Well, by completing the lesson we're working on today, you are automatically moving yourself into the top 5% of achievers, high achievers. So on that note, let's proceed with today's exercises for lesson number 2. The first exercise is going to be based on your responses from lesson number 1. What I'd like you to do is go get that piece of paper. Hopefully you've got it handy. Grab that piece of paper where you wrote about your passions and your wants list. And I'd like you to list 5 short-term goals for your life. Now, a short-term goal, I'll explain it here so that you know where we're heading with this. A short-term goal is a goal that you want to reach within the next 3 to 6 months. I mean, it's approximate. It could be a month from now, it could also be 8 months from now, or a year from now. That's generally, it's under a year for a short-term goal. Now, you may want to set a goal for a specific area of your life in the next 3 to 6 months, 7, 8 months. Financial, business, career, health and fitness, recreation, relationship, charity, spiritual, etc. Once you've set those 5 short-term goals, make sure they're written down, and you're going to print those out. If you haven't typed them in, go ahead and type them in, but print those out so you've got them in front of you. Put the video on pause and go work on your short-term goals right now. Okay, you're back. So you've got 5 short-term goals. Number 2, exercise number 2 is determining 2 or 3 long-term goals. Long-term goals are going to be for your life. These are long-term goals that maybe take 2 years or longer to achieve. Some of your current short-term goals may be stepping stones to these longer-term goals. For example, you might be a birthday party performer, and you are currently booking 10 shows a month. Well, a longer-term goal might be to work all the way up to doing 35 shows a month. And that might take a full 1.5 to 2 years to get to that point where you're consistently booking 30 or 40 shows every single month. Maybe you're working in one market, let's say as in the educational assembly school market. Does that make sense? Educational assembly market, there we go. And you want to break into a new market like the corporate market. Well, that's not going to happen overnight. So you want to set that as one of your longer-term goals. And these are things that are going to work for you over the period of the coming months, the coming year or 2 or 3 years. So put some time into thinking about that. It's not a goal that you necessarily want to just pop into your head, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to put that down on paper. Spend a little bit of time thinking about what you want your longer-term 2+ year goals to be. Go ahead, write that down now, and I'll be right here waiting for you. All right, so you've got your short-term goals and your long-term goals. Time for exercise number 3. I want you to create a no-limit goal for your life. This is a goal that may seem completely unreasonable, unrealistic, even a little crazy, based on your current capabilities or knowledge. But it's a dream goal that could define your entire life. Your job is to write down this goal and then start brainstorming of all the ways that you might be able to make this goal a reality. Once you have your goal exercises completed, all 3 of these, take your most important goals, and then I want you to write them down on some blank business cards or cue cards. These are some 3x5 index cards, or some other little piece of paper that you can carry with you at all times. That includes your short-term goals, your long-term, and your dream goal. And use whatever card you use to write all this stuff down on to carry with you. Use it to remind yourself all the time of what you intend to achieve. This is exactly what I did when I was in college and the months and year right after college when I was building up my business. It's exactly what I did to go on to achieve the results in my career, in my personal life, in my life in general. This is exactly the system that I use and that I coach my clients on using, and now I want you guys to try out the exact same thing. And then I'll be able to congratulate you, because once you do this, you are now a goal setter. You're in that top 5%. Now we're going to talk about how you can begin to achieve those goals in the next lesson. So I will see you on day 3 for making action automatic. Until then, I'm Brad Ross for BradCoachMe.com, saying do what you love and love what you do.